Alright guys, so in my after hours work, I've got this machine up and running. This is one out of two, see the internals. This is one out of a 2-game set. I gotta be careful there. This is one out of a 2-game set that I got from a guy in Athens, and he was actually going to scrap these. The other one's upstairs. It's basically the same thing, but it's an Ion. This was made by Megatouch for home use back in the day, and they called it the Game Time. It is specifically for home use. They didn't, let me see here, turn this light on. They didn't put bill acceptors on these. They just have a block-off plate, and it's got what they called Game Time software, which is Ion based. So Megatouch Ion is like what the Auroras use. So this is an Aurora, and then there's like the Ion Edge Elites. They look like this. Some of them are a little bit different. One of them is a little bit shorter with more of a box in the back. This is one model. So this game right here, this is a customer's game sent in for repair. He had a failing hard drive, original hard drive. It was a failing drive, and that drive, it worked. It was a functioning drive, but he had specific games would not load. So there were certain games, and it was like the photo hunt games. They wouldn't load. It would go to black screen. It's just a black screen. Everything freezes, and you have to shut off the machine and turn it back on, and you're unable to play those games. So I've had another Aurora in the past that did something similar with like this 3D spaceship game. It had like pretty graphics that were like not ever really used often on Megatouch games. It was more graphically intensive, and the fix for that was adding more RAM. Sorry, I got like a little blinking thing. So I thought possibly that this could be a RAM issue to add more RAM. So the guy added more RAM. He had a larger RAM stick, and that did not solve the problem. So basically, once you get to that point, you're talking either processor or hard drive. And a lot of the times it's hard drive. The original Megatouch hard drives, they're gonna go out. I mean, it's for this specific game, for this specific machine, it was a matter of time before this drive went out, because he was still rocking the original disk drive, not a solid state. So what I did is I went ahead and told him, gave him a quote, and then I said, because I tested out a 2014 solid state and it worked with this setup. It says, hey man, I got to get you a new hard drive. I'm gonna get you a solid state. I'm going to reload fresh Ion software onto this drive. So there was a whole debacle with that in terms of finding a DVD drive that this specific motherboard wanted or behaved with. So we finally figured that out. We had a SATA connected DVD drive hooked directly to the motherboard instead of using what's called a Centronics cable, because this is a Centronics cable connector, which you would connect to an old school IDE hard drive. Now, this specific Aurora was upgraded with what they called the Intel Little Falls motherboard. So this is an upgraded, like, newer style motherboard. So for loading fresh software, it does not like the Centronics. It would not cooperate with the Centronics. So basically, you go straight into the motherboard through SATA, and that's how it worked. So I got him set up with fresh software, brand new solid state hard drive. I'm going to replace his motherboard battery because it's right in there. I can get to it easily. And then we've got this bad boy here, and this is fully functional. This game was completely dead. So I ran my magic on it. I had a brand new power supply sitting that I hadn't used yet. So this was the first step, was I knew I had a good power supply. I even tested the one that came with it and it worked, but he didn't. It was the wrong power supply. It didn't even have the 4-prong hookup. I don't know. It was separate from the game. He just had it in a box. So I went through the process of getting to the point where I knew I had a good power supply. I knew my RAM was good because I used a RAM stick that I had just tested in a different game. So I knew that was good. And I got to the point where the motherboard just wouldn't activate. It just wouldn't turn on. But I took off this I/O board and you could see lights come on. You could see the motherboard green light come on, and you could see the Ethernet port lights flash when you would hit the power switch on the back. So I ran this whole trick where you disconnect the I/O board, you get to the motherboard power pins, and well, first you replace the motherboard battery, the cell battery that saves the BIOS settings, and then you do the jump hack, which is there's pins down here that would normally be connected to a if this board was like in a desktop computer, there's pins that would hook up to your power button and your reset button, and there's other pins next to it that hooked up to like indicator LEDs, stuff like that. And so what you do is you jump the pins. So you use like a tiny screwdriver, like electronic screwdriver, something metal that's small, and you just jump the two pins together. It forces power. That's how you can tell if your motherboard's screwed or not. If you have a known good power supply, known good RAM, known good hard drive, well, you don't even need a hard drive to start up a motherboard. If everything else checks out and you replace your motherboard battery and you jump the pins and nothing happens, you know that your motherboard is probably screwed. Because there's only a couple components that need to be good for a motherboard to activate. Now you can usually visually inspect capacitors on motherboards, and you'll see if the capacitor is bad, they'll be visually bad, like bulging or leaking or whatever, busted. And this one, all the caps look good. So, there's always a chance that there's bad caps that aren't showing any signs of bulging or leaking. But this one, probably. So now we've got a fully functioning Megatouch Game Time. I can even I'm going to tell the customer, whoever decides to buy this machine, I'm going to say, hey, you can either stick with the Game Time software, or I can give you Ion software. And I can even give you all the way up to 2014 Ion. That's the option, right? So, yep, success. And then I got tons of games I'm working on. I'm still tinkering with another customer game. This was a repair request that turned into a situation where the game was pretty much screwed. And I told her, hey, I'm going to see what I can do. If I can't figure it out, I'm just going to buy it from you for parts. Because this game was a total goner. When I got this game originally, total goner. So many things wrong with it. I got this working on this Force later on. It needs a all new internals, repaired internals. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And I got the other Ion, the 2-part set. So like this Game Time here came with another Ion machine, so I'm going to work on that next, get that running, and I'm going to flip that one and sell that one. So it's a lot of work, and this is all after hours, so exhausting, but I guess I'm having fun with it, I guess.